Attention all passengers in the lobby area. This train will be departing shortly for DX Central Live. Please be sure to have your boarding ticket ready. Additionally, it is recommended that you have your AM or FM radio on your person at all times while the train is in motion, as this will allow you to report receptions during the voyage. If you have not yet done so, it is recommended that you subscribe to this channel so you will be notified when new videos are available, including future voyages of DX Central Live. Thank you for travelling with us, and we hope you enjoy our journey on DX Central Live.
Hello, you lot. Welcome back to the party. For anyone new to the stream, it's your girl Rachel. Some of you already chatting away in the chat box. There has certainly been a buzz this week around a certain new radio station that launched on last week's show. DX Radio has had a cracking first week, and the numbers are looking impressive. And honestly, we are just getting started. So whether you are watching us directly here on YouTube or over at dxcentrallive.com, get yourselves comfortable, grab a drink, and let's get into it. Kicking things off with a bit of a vibe setter.
Yeah.
This is the Universal Hertz.
Turn the lights down low in the shack. Let the tubes warm up. We gonna travel tonight. Listen close. Yeah. My fingertips on the VFO, spinning slow, watching the meters go past the local static, past the city noise, searching for that distant voice. The ionosphere is doing its thing tonight, bouncing souls off the ceiling, reflecting the light. I hear a rhythm coming out of Dakar, then a melody from Bogota. It don't seem so far. The world gets smaller when you turn the dial. 1,000 miles feels like a single mile. Ain't no borders up in the sky, just electromagnetic lullabies. We all vibrating on the same hertz, so why we bringing pain down to this earth? Tune into the connection. Yeah, check the flow, it's the universal language. See, static clearing up, revealing you and me. I hear the laughter in a Tokyo cafe while I'm sitting in the middle of the USA. They crying over heartache in Berlin too. Same tears, different longitude. The propagation don't care about your flag or your creed. It just carries the signal, planting the seed. It's physics, baby, but it feels spiritual. Crossing oceans in a second, that's a miracle. The world gets smaller when you turn the dial. 1,000 miles feels like a single mile. Ain't no borders up in the sky, just electromagnetic lullabies. We all vibrating on the same hertz, so why we bringing pain down to this earth? Tune into the connection. Frequency right there. No static, just peace. Keep it locked. Keep listening. The signal is always there if you want to hear it. Peace and DX. We out.
This week, it's been a bit of a mixed bag, hasn't it? We had that CME earlier in the week that woke up the medium wave band, making things properly weird and quasi-auroral for some of you. Tragic Basically, Lloyd hasn't had much time to sit in front of the radio himself this week, so he has been living vicariously through your logs. Please keep them coming. Speaking of your logs, time to share what you have been hearing. Send us your DX catches by submitting them through our shoutout submission form at dxchallenges.com/shoutout. You can also just tap on the link we have pinned up at the top of the chat. That works too. Now let's keep the flow going. This is Waterfall Display. See what I did there? Flow! Waterfall! I crack myself up. Now that one had me grooving and dancing in my seat. For my FM lovers out there, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it looks like the party is over for now. After that absolute explosion of midwinter e-skip last week, reality has set back in. We are back to normal winter conditions, cold fronts, dead bands, and just waiting for the spring tropo and summer e-season. But even when the bands are quiet, we are still busy here at the studios. If you want to help us keep the lights on, keep DX Radio grooving with catchy little DX ditties, and not to mention keeping the vending machines stocked for the interns, do check out patreon.com/DX Central. You lot are the absolute best. Truly. Up next, a little something for the technical crowd. This is the skill and science in the signal.
See you sitting there with your screen so bright. Waterfall display. signal in the parking lot. And you can buy the box, you can buy the screen, but you can't buy the ghost within the machine. It ain't about the pixel, it ain't about the graph. It's the ear, my friend, that cuts the path. The other wire knows the truth. The wire knows the truth. I got a rusted radio and a wiring, and I can hear the trans-equatorial swing. You're waiting for the computer to decode the ID. I already logged it, signed and set it free. You're staring at the data, looking for the spike. I'm riding on the rhythm that the airways like. You can buy the box, you can buy the screen, but you can't buy the ghost within the machine. It ain't about the pixel, it ain't about the graph. It's the ear, my friend, that cuts the path. The other wire knows the truth. One day the grid goes down, one day the screen goes black, and all you tech boys won't know the way back. But I'll be here with my hand on the dial. Listen to the noise. Listen to the noise. Dig it out. Oh yeah, oh yeah, the wine knows all.
A proper anthem for the hobby, that one. Just a quick note on DX Radio, since I know a few of you have been listening non-stop this week. If you are starting to memorise the liners, or you are hearing the same promo in your sleep, don't panic. Lloyd is busy adding fresh songs and production elements to the rotation as we speak. So if it feels a little repetitive, just be patient. More stuff is coming down the pipeline. Speaking of new things, we are launching a brand new challenge tonight. So if you haven't already, make sure you are registered over at dxchallenges.com so you are ready to go when we announce the details. Let's switch gears a bit. This is Sideband Dream.
The amber light, the only sun. The dial turns, the day is done. I close my eyes, the headphones tight, slipping through the noise of night. The frequency begins to bend. Where does the wire the ionosphere in view. The roof is gone, the walls dissolve. A mystery I don't resolve. I'm surfing on the sporadic key across the curve of history, past the clouds and past the rain. Electric ghost inside my brain. Signal strong, signal long. Orbiting the static moon. Coming back not too soon. Floating on the carrier wave. Drifting from the shack, I'm safe. Up above the city lights, rapping on the signal heights. Weightless in the velvet blue, the ionosphere in view. Gravity returns to me, just a man at frequency. Open eyes that cherish cold, the same story newly told. Still here. Still listening.
Absolute classic vibes right there. Now, what is everyone up to this weekend? Any antenna projects planned? Oh, Lloyd has got a workbench full of common mode chokes that need finishing. Priority number one, apparently. And once those are sorted, he is doing some work over at Shortwave Central, getting that FM online receiver and autologger ready for you lot. Never a dull moment around here, is there? One more track before I hand you over to a man who dresses like he is on his way to the set of Peaky Blinders, the ever-stylish Mark Monroe. This is Codebreaker's Groove.
Hear the beat, hear the tone, Morse is on my mind. Let my headphones guide me, what signals will I find? It's a DX party, let's groove all night. Catching those signals in the dim twilight. The Codebreaker's Groove, it's a funky kind of vibe. Decoding every rhythm that the airways prescribe. From the static to the clear, it's a party we improve. DX test magic with the Codebreaker's Groove. Every tap on the key, it's a song to decode. A melody of signals on a faraway road. With the radio tuned tight, I'm dancing to the beat. Grooving with the airways where the frequencies meet. The Codebreaker's Groove, it's a funky kind of vibe. Decoding every rhythm that the airways prescribe. From the static to the clear, it's a party we improve. DX test magic with the Codebreaker's Groove. Antenna pointed high to the distant sky. catching waves of magic as they drift by. More steps out of rhythm, a beat so true, unlocking hidden signals with a dance to pursue. The code breaker's groove, it's a funky kind of vibe, decoding every rhythm that the airways prescribe. From the static to the clear, it's a party we improve. DX test magic with the code breaker's groove. So keep the dial spinning, let the groove flow on through the late night hours till the break of dawn. It's a funky celebration where the DXers move, living for the rhythm of the code breaker's groove.
That is me done for the night here in Studio B. Before I go, a massive shout out to the folks who help make this show possible, starting with our sponsors, the International Radio Club of America at ircaonline.org, the National Radio Club at nationalradioclub.org, and of course, the Spectrum Monitor magazine at thespectrummonitor.com. And an enormous debt of eternal gratitude goes to our patrons. You lot are the absolute best. Thank you for keeping the lights on. You can join them in our very own Studio C by heading over to patreon.com/DXCentral. Don't forget your shout-outs, which you can submit by hitting the link pinned at the top of the chat or just going over to dxchallenges.com/shoutout. And finally, a brand new challenge drops tonight, so make sure you are registered at dxchallenges.com. Otherwise, you will miss out on the fun. Stick around, boys and girls, because coming up next is my mate Mark Monroe with the countdown, which means we are right at 10 minutes to showtime. Don't wander off. I'll see you on the other side. It's all yours, Mark.
Cheers, Rachel. Although I do think Peaky Blinders is a bit of a stretch, I'd call it simply classic tailoring. Regardless, we're exactly 10 minutes away from airtime. The party portion of the evening is concluded. It is time to check the frequencies. If you haven't grabbed a drink yet or a radio, now would be the time. We've got a packed show tonight. New challenges, band updates, and plenty to get through. Let's get the level set. This is a brand new song you haven't heard yet, premiering here on DX Central Live, called Perfect Game.
You see that wire on the roof? Yeah. I made that. Watch this. I got the copper, got the cutters, got the soldering gun. I ain't stopping till the resonance is completely done. Measure twice, cut it once, yeah, I know the math. I'm clearing out the brush, making way for the path. The SWR is dropping low, dropping to the floor. I tweaked the balloon, now I'm ready for a little more. Yeah, I'm ready for more. I turn the radio on, the static is gone. It is gone. I feel the energy rise. I see the look in your eyes. You know I built it for this. I got that perfect game. I'm logging everything inside the lane. I built it with my hands, I made it right. That's why I'm hearing all the world tonight. New one in the law, add it up. New one in the law, add it up. Don't touch the dial, baby, I'm the king. I made the copper and the airwaves sing. They buying antennas from the store, that's a rookie move. I tuned the dial for myself just to find the groove. Adjust the length, trim an inch, get it really sharp. I play the honor spit just like I play a harp. You hear that ID? That's foreign soil. Courtesy of my loading coil. Let me see you tune it. Tune it, tune it. Let me see you tune it. Let me see you log it. Don't be jealous of
perfect game. Yeah. I'm logging everything inside the lane. I built it with my hands and made it right. That's why I'm hearing all the world tonight. New one in the law, add it up. New one in the law, add it up. Don't touch the dial, baby, I'm the king. I made the copper and the airwaves sing. I got the
Track sounds cleaner than it has any right to. Now, conditions might be quiet on FM, but that just means it is a good time for the workbench. Whether you are winding common mode chokes like Lloyd or tweaking your FM setup, winter is a great time for those that patrol the VHF portion of the bands to do a little building. On our end, we hope to have some updates coming on our new shortwave central FM receiver project, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's keep the audio pristine with another world premiere. This is the Zero Beat.
I checked the specs on the Collins filter today. Whatever noise was there, I made it go away. I got the lids wire woven in a hexagonal shape, and a fresh reel of archival recording tape. The noteless fiber noise is effectively nil. I'm sitting in the bunker paying the electric bill. Just a man and his meters in the neon glow, searching for the magic in the radio show. We're riding the zero beat tonight. The signal path is looking clean and bright. I got the gain control locked in the sweet spot zone, the finest audio that I have ever known. They say the solar cycle is a fickle friend, but I got engineering tricks that I can extend. A little DSP, a little sleight of hand. I'm pulling phantom stations from the foreign land. No lightning crashes, no crackle, no pop. I'm running this machine until the voltage drops. It's strictly high fidelity, strictly top shelf. I'm keeping all the frequencies to myself. We don't tolerate the hits, we don't tolerate the fuzz. It's the perfection of the silence that gives the operator the buzz. We're riding the zero beat tonight. The signal path is looking clean and bright. I got the gain control locked in the sweet spot zone, the finest audio that I have ever known. Zero beat, crystal clear. Turn it up.
Smooth, very smooth. We are closing in on go time. Remember, if you have a shout out for the show, get it in now. The link is pinned at the top of the chat, and make sure you are registered at dxchallenges.com because a new frequency range drops tonight and you won't want to be playing catch up. One last track to wake you up before we go live. This is the Phantom ID.
I was spinning
the time to miss a DX catch is a heavy crime. It had a wobble, a tropical swing. I swear to you, brother, heard the anthem ring. But the static crashed and the signal died. Left me standing with my pride absolutely fried. So tell me the truth, don't tell me lies. Did he ask me to jump or was it just lies? Did you hear it? I think I heard it. Did you clear it? I couldn't clear it. Was it really there or just a ghost in the air? It sounded like the Alice, but I can't be sure. We gotta verify the catch or find the cure. I checked the solar flow. It was high. I checked the gray line path. It was nigh. We got a mystery, a bona fide mystery. Let's sort it out. Was it real? Yeah. Was it fake? No. It's the biggest risk that a DXer can take.
That'll do it. All right, folks, the countdown is finished. So logs open, radios and headsets on. That we head now to Studio A, where Lloyd is standing by and ready to start the show. Right after a word from our sponsors.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by
The International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com. For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Can't get enough DX? Then the DX Central from the Static podcast is for you. Take DX Central on the go and listen to episodes from DX Central Live, interviews with prominent members of the DX community, tips, tricks, how-tos, your DX memories and stories. And that's just the start. You can find the From the Static podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Listen Notes, or anywhere you get podcasts, or by visiting FromTheStatic.net. That's FromTheStatic.net. For stories, signals, and voices from across the airwaves, don't miss the DX Central From the Static podcast.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
Is your SDR screen looking a bit empty?
Come on!
Do you spend your evenings staring at a waterfall that has less activity than a frozen pond? Is the only signal you've heard in 3 days a religious station from 2 towns over? We know the feeling. It's January. The aurora has disappeared like your Uncle Roy's hairline. The tropo is gone. The meteors are sleeping. And the e-skip is months away. You could read a book.
Nah.
You could talk to your family. But let's be honest, you won't do that. Introducing the Simu-D X3000, the world's first artificial propagation injector. Simply connect it between your antenna and your radio and let our proprietary phantom signal technology do the rest. Experience the thrill of a massive opening right in your basement. Choose from our curated presets. Latin American stations that no longer exist. The 1998 Solar Maximum. The Caribbean Tropoduct. And our most popular setting, the ghost of analog TV. But hey, we didn't stop at perfection. The Simu-D X features our patented real frustration algorithm. It doesn't just give you signals, it simulates DX-related pain too. It will perfectly fade out a station exactly 2 seconds before the ID. It will generate synthetic splatter from a local kilowatt transmitter. It will even simulate your spouse asking you to take out the trash right when the band opens. It's so realistic, you'll forget it's all a lie.
Warning, Simu-DX may cause hallucinations, loss of time, and a false sense of accomplishment. Batteries not included. Reality not included. Simu-DX is a subsidiary of DX Central Global Industries. All signals are fictional. If you actually hear a station from Mars, please consult a doctor.
The Simu-D X3000. Stop waiting for the ionosphere to get off its backside. Build your own ionosphere and get to DXing.
It's a Friday night, rolling in the North Shore, setting frequencies right. AM and FM, the airwaves collide. DX Central Live, where the signals can't hide. Tuning in the static, chasing down the sounds. Every single signal is magic we have found. All radios hum, the chatters all agree. DX Central Live is the place to be. Folks in the chat, shout out your call. From east to west, we're breaking down the walls. It's the magic of the night, where frequencies fly. Join us now on DX Central Live.
From the Gulf South
to your corner of the world,
this is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here on a Friday night in Mandeville, Louisiana. Greetings, my friend. It is Season 6, Episode number 15 that we bring you this evening for another edition of Live DX, DX-related conversations. Shout-outs. You guys are in the chat already going crazy. And Jerry, by the way, we'll probably get the Simu 3000 before we get the Ranger. I don't know. I might be wrong on that one. Hopefully you guys have had a great week of DX. I haven't had any time for it. I've been doing other things, but some day job stuff. But we're here, and we're ready to do some DX. It's almost top of the hour. We're getting just a few minutes here away. We got a lot to talk about tonight, as we usually do. Actually, not crazy amounts of stuff to talk about. I want to talk a bit about, now that we're pretty much entering the FM deadband portion of the year. Yeah, I know it sucks, but e-skip is probably going to be pretty much. I mean, it can happen at any time, and we've seen a little bit of people getting stuff this week, but not like we had last week, right? So we're now in that point where, like, okay, we're really kind of waiting for April or May. And tropo is probably going to be a little ways away because guess what? Cold air kills tropo. Because you get cold air at all layers of the atmosphere, the troposphere, so that just kills the tropo. Meteor scatter it's possible at any time as well, but this time of the year it seems to be a little more rare. So we're in that deadband part of the year for FM. So what can we do to when there's no FM? So we're going to talk a bit about that and some things we can do now to get us ready for the next upcoming season. We're also going to talk about some solar activity. We had a little CME earlier this week, and we've got some more stuff heading this way. I saw an article on our local TV station here in New Orleans talking about, there's going to be aurora, northern lights into parts of the U.S. this weekend. And so if the mainstream media is talking about aurora, that gets my attention because that's significant enough that it could impact DX conditions in some capacity. So we're going to talk a bit about that. We're also going to talk about, I was having a conversation with my friend Sean Cusco, KX9X this week, about computers in the shack and some different computer options. He's having some computer replacement needs. And so talking a bit about that. And I want to go over an idea. Something that I've been doing now that I think some of you might actually enjoy or have some success with. It may help you with your own DX efforts. So we're going to talk a bit about PCs for the modern shack and what really do we need versus what's kind of overkill these days. So we'll talk a bit about that. And of course your shout outs and a whole lot more. But I want to get to some DX. It's DX time, my friends.
DX Central Live top of the hour alert.
And this is our first DX session brought to you by the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org. That's where we're going to start here on our AirSpy HF Plus Discovery around the corner over at Shortwave Central, where we have our big CAS antenna pointing down towards Latin America, because I think we might have a little bit of enhancement right now down to the south. So let's take a look at it. We're on our challenge frequencies of 1180 to 1220. I'm going to start us off actually on 1190 and 1200 here to get us going here. So because 1180 is just going to be the Rebeldy wall, as you'll hear. There it is. Everyone convinced? Rebeldy wall? Okay, 1190. Let's go to 1190. Probably going to be XECT in Mexico here. That's what we've been hearing this week when we have tuned in. 1200 probably WOAI. Not a lot there, actually. Pretty quiet conditions here. A bit attenuated. We do have a Spanish station here, though, and let's listen in.
Bueno, estamos bien, pero estos temas que hemos hablado acerca del mundo automovilístico, siempre la gente, yo sé que la gente, este segmento es uno de los más importantes. Bien, vamos a dar con el que recuerden que cualquier vía o de ayuda que podamos sobre los segmentos que tenemos, vamos a hacerlo. Mis redes son auto, ahora es autoturismo, mis redes, carro eléctrico de carro, podemos comenzar contenido ya de las travesías a diferentes puntos del país. Ok, vamos a hacer esto, vamos frente a la clase. Julián, entonces, para el próximo un tema bien interesante para todos nuestros oyentes. Así mismo es, y ya lo saben, si quieren contactar también vía WhatsApp 829-6650-18, 829-750-31, ahí estaremos a la disposición. Retornemos con una especialista en economía, finanzas, hablamos de las tarjetas de crédito, así que nadie va a quédese con nosotros.
This isn't Chicago, is it? I doubt it's Chicago. We're facing south. I barely hear OAI. Just trying to figure out who this might be. Could be Sancti Spiritus down in Cuba. On 1200 Knoxville? Yeah. I'm leaning towards Cuba, but they've been so intermittent lately. Maybe it's Mexico. Kind of doubt it. It could be one of these down in Central America, like let me look at Costa Rica. Let me pull up the Costa Rican Kiwi here. Okay, they're not hearing. Ugh. It's a frying pan they got.
La licenciada Ana Josefina Quilloso. Dios te bendiga. Put in your address and you will find out. Amén, amén, amén.
Could it be Dominican?
Porque estamos iniciando el año, muchas entidades bancarias están ofreciendo tarjetas. A mí me han llamado una tarjeta, uno preaprobado. Y dice para algunas personas el mito que la tarjeta no es válida, para otros es buena. ¿Cuál es la realidad?
Let me see if I'm hearing it on the southeast wire here, on the southeast Kaz here at the house. See, the southeast Kaz has WOAI like gangbusters, but the Latin American Kaz, they're not there, barely. Oh, that's such a great antenna. It just reminds me how good that antenna is. On our low noise vertical,
so let's do it. Hey, Real American.
I've got OAI.
I chose to read this email, Chris. I like when people know how wonderful I am. I prefer to read. I try to cut out as much commie crap that I purchase as I can, but I can't.
I can kind of.
Stop shopping at Target. Their deli is awesome.
Okay, they're louder on the east wire.
And I don't feel like I'm going to be stabbed at the one here in Tuscaloosa as opposed to the Walmart. Does this make me gay? Well, one, yes. But two, I've never, ever judged you for where you shop.
All right, so whoever this is, it peaks a little bit to the east, south, southeast. So that puts Dominican Republic in play here, and that's a rarity for here. Oh, you heard the radio vein? I must have missed that. Okay. That's a new one. That's the number 2 from Dominican Republic here. So that would be new for us. That's awesome. That is, I'll take that one. Yeah. Nice. I'll go back and I'll go back and review the live stream when we had that audio running to make sure I can pull that out and grab the ID, but before I put it in the log. But yeah, that's awesome. Nice. Thanks, man. Thanks for the confirmation. Before I said that, there was an ID by the female. Okay. I will double check that. That's a good reference point. Thank you. All right, so let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk a bit about FM DX. We're in that part of the year where, okay, FM is pretty much a done deal for now. It's going to come back with a vengeance in a handful of months here, but for right now, FM is probably back burner to a lot of our thoughts. However, if you're a hardcore FM DXer or you're just wanting to get a jump start on the FM season, there's some stuff you can do right now that I'm doing right now to prepare myself for the upcoming FM season. It'll get you ahead, and you're not going to have to scramble. And, you know, if things do break open, especially a little earlier than usual, you'll be ready. So we're going to talk about some of that. We're going to talk a bit about some of the auroral conditions that we've seen kind of playing around here a bit this week and what to expect for this weekend, because we may have some more heading our way this weekend. And, of course, we have your shout-outs to get to. We have a new challenge to announce later on this hour, so don't go anywhere, my friend. There's plenty more DX Central Live coming your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. The International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com.
Can't get enough DX? Then the DX Central from the Static podcast is for you. Take DX Central on the go and listen to episodes from DX Central Live, interviews with prominent members of the DX community, tips, tricks, how-tos, your DX memories and stories. And that's just the start. You can find the From the Static podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Listen Notes, or anywhere you get podcasts, or by visiting FromTheStatic.net. That's FromTheStatic.net. For stories, signals, and voices from across the airwaves, don't miss the DX Central From the Static podcast.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
In the sky, the sun gone wild. Charged up winds are running miles. Static's dancing with light. Turn that dive, the world inside. Hear that rhythm on 1140. Rio singing sweet and sporty. Buenos Aires calling clear. Sounds of summer in my ear. Oh, so last I'm serenade. The bands are burning. Signals parade. From Havana to Montevideo. The tropic tunes begin to play. Oh, so last I'm serenade. Every flare.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in beautiful Mandeville, Louisiana. And we might have a little solar storm serenade going on this weekend.
Every hop repeats her name. Oh, solar storm serenade. The bands are burning. Signals parade. From Havana to Montevideo. The tropic tunes begin to play. Oh, solar storm serenade. Every flare. The DX ballet. Latin skies light up my night.
Hey, Matthew, yes. 4 and 6 elements for the log periodic. We'll talk a bit about it here when we get into the FM portion that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, but great antenna. Absolutely fantastic antenna. All right. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about what you've been hearing, because it's time for shout-outs.
Shout out loud, hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM to C to C. We celebrate the ones who snag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way, shout outs making waves today.
Oh, thanks, Barry. Appreciate it, bud. See, doing the work. Doing the work, man. Because we got each other's back. It's shout-out time, so go to dxchallenges.com/shoutout if you have not yet done so already. Submit your catches to the form and let us know what you've been hearing. New countries, new stations, new states, new gear, new records that you've broken for yourself, new milestones that you reached. If you just want to give a high five because Barry caught the ID for you and you want to give him the high five, say thanks. Whatever the shout-out is, man. Submit that in the form, send that in to us, and we'll give you a virtual high five here alongside with you. All right, let's start off with Chuck Ripple up in Virginia, NS Norfolk, in the chat, using a Wind Radio G33 DDC that he bought from Grove Enterprises. He says, man, I'll tell you a story about that here in a minute. Let's get to your shout out first. And a different type of directional antenna. This antenna is a multi-band receive-only sloper fed at 100 feet level and uses a tower as a crude, maybe 5-ish dB reflector. However, it does hear very well. And he got himself something new here. Let's see what he got. It says, he says, new log, new state. Let's see what you got.
Weather and traffic on News Radio WFLA, Orlando. I'm Andy Wow. Tariffs, inflation, tax.
Is that FLA?
Every day, news, weather, and traffic on News Radio WFLA, Orlando. I'm Andy Wow. Tariffs, inflation, tax.
Nice, man. Got you WFLA from Virginia. I'll give you that new log here, bud. All right. Yeah, so speaking of that Wind Radio, I don't remember which model it was. It might have been the G33 or something along those lines. It was one of the older models, obviously, because this was like early 2000s, mid 2000s, somewhere in there. Dad got one that he did a review for Monitoring Times. And it was my first time I'd ever heard of SDR, a software defined radio. I remember I was upstairs. We had an upstairs house with the upstairs shack. And I was upstairs and I was looking at this thing, and this was before we had flat screen monitors. So you still had the CRT monitors. And these things are noisy. And I was like, that's stupid. Why would I have a radio that I plug into this device that is attached to another device that makes a ton of noise that I normally have to make sure all those are off so I can DX? Why would I DX that way? I have a radio. That's stupid. It was my first exposure to SDR, was that Wind Radio way back in the day that Grove used to sell. So, of course, obviously the technology has improved and I've changed my tune quite significantly. And we're going to talk about that this hour, or next hour rather. But, yeah, that brings back some good memories. Well done, Chuck. Well done, my friend. Next up on the list, we got Dan Massey on 12/6/2025. Sunrise Recording finally logged the Mexican state of Sonora. 730 XESOS, Agua Prieta, clear ID with La Ranchera several times around 11:58 UTC, probably on their 25 kilowatt day power, the strongest signal out of Sonora. And that's a very good thing to know, because I think Sonora is still on my list of. I know it's either AM or FM, one of those two. I still need Sonora. Where's my missing? It's FM. I need them on FM. Okay, not AM. So we got a log, because you got the log. Hey, mamacita. There we go. And you got that new Mexican state, so we've got to celebrate, my friend. Well done. There was a time when I just DX'd stations from Mexico, and I was like, it's a station from Mexico, it's a station from Mexico. It's all the same. 6 1 half a dozen. And then when I was living here, I suddenly realized just how many different Mexican states that I had heard. I didn't track my Mexican states because I was like, I'm not going to hear all the states. That's impossible. And then I realized how many I'd heard, how many I had left. And I was like, okay, now we're going to track that. So that's something in the last probably year that became a concerted effort for me here, was tracking my Estados de Mexicos. So well done, Dan. Well done. Bob Grove did have a computer in his shack. Yes, he did. He had a nice shack. Had, I don't know if he still does or not, had a nice shack in his house. Custom built-in stuff. I mean, it's what you expect from Bob Grove. But he did have a computer in his shack. Don't let him fool you. He wasn't just Mr. Tube radio, old school radio stuff. The man had a computer in his shack. Rick Dow. Hello, Lloyd. 2 new AM loggings to report since last time. 1480 WHBC in Canton, Ohio. Heard on Friday morning, January the 9th at 0647 Central Time, right after they went to their day power. And 1560 WGLB Elm Grove, Wisconsin on Wednesday, the evening of January the 14th, 2014 Central Time. Yes, I believe I have some cheese coming my way. That you do, my friend. We went from queso to the high stinking cheddar. The first piece of radio gear that I ever owned that I purchased with my, purchased with my own money. I'll tell you the story about that. Was from Grove. My first piece, it was actually a scanner. It was a Unit and Bearcat BC890 XLT. And I got it by working at Grove in the shipping department the summer that we moved to North Carolina from here in Louisiana. I worked, and I was, 14, I think? And so I wasn't, working yet, but I put in hours at the shipping department because I had nothing else to do that summer because we weren't in the house just yet. And so I worked and helped ship some products out. So if you bought something the summer of 1993 from Grove Enterprises, there's a very good chance that I'm the one that packed it up and shipped it to you. And then, totaled up on my hours and turned that in for a piece of gear. And I wanted the Drake SW8, but they were like, let's go a little bit lower than that. So we got the Bearcat 890. And then right after that, trunking came out, and that was already obsolete. Well done, Senor Rick. We're going to saw a log here for you as well. There you go. I had lots of other gear that I either was gifted because of Christmas. Mom and Dad got me the Super Radio 3 with the select antenna. I had, we had their radios. I had a Panasonic RF 3100 that Mom cut her teeth on shortwave. I cut my teeth on it from AM standpoint, and then went to the Drake R8. That was my favorite. The Drake SPR4 is another one, especially when we had that one plugged into the Kiwa Air Core loop. Oh my gosh! Back when you could actually do that and have your antenna sitting next to you that you could turn without having to worry about the noise in the shack. Jerry Hart, you're up next, my friend, from the state of Nuevo York. Only a couple this week from the 11th. At 1200 UTC WBPZ, 1230 Pennsylvania, Lock Haven, Classic Rock, new. And on the 15th at 1159 UTC WIXE, 1190 in Monroe, North Carolina, new national anthem and country music. So some log sawing for our friend Jerry. I remember those AORs. I wanted either that one or with the Lowe's. The 150. Oh, that was a sexy radio. Jerry has a clip here for us as well, and so let's take a listen to the clip here. This is of WIXE in Monroe, North Carolina. There you go. All right, man. Well done. Let's see how many more we got. We got quite a few in here. Very nice. We'll keep going. We'll do a couple more here. Speaking of David peed up in Maine on January 10th. When I fired up the receiver, I quickly noted several TA carriers. And once again, not the typical ones I usually see. 864 seemed to be the strongest, so I started there. I quickly had audio fade-ups, some lasting a couple of minutes. There are only 2 stations listed in Europe, Middle East, so I didn't have to search that much. The programming was a typical Middle Eastern chanting and singing mixed with Arabic speaking. I quickly matched it to a Kiwi in Cyprus. From there, I was able to match that to a stream, to the stream of Quran radio in Egypt. New country, number 39. I'm telling you, man, I see you guys getting all these transatlantics. I miss living on the coast. I miss it. As far as like the DX and stuff goes, I wouldn't trade where I am now. But I would like to have that access to the coast for the DX perspective. New country, so we got to stamp a passport here for you. Hey, Earl. My friend. Egypt. 864. Passport stamped. And log sawed as well for our friend David peed up in Maine. He has a clip for us as well. All right. See, now this does point to something to kind of consider when we hear something. Now there are exceptions to this. There are times when we hear some of these clips from some of these transatlantic stations or down under, down in Australia, New Zealand, and you're like, wow, that's actually pretty loud. That's easy to hear. The vast majority of the time, that's not the case. The vast majority of the time, it is in the mud. You're digging in the mud trying to get these out. You have to do a lot of filtering. You have to do a lot of straining. You have to really get in there, and you've got a very tight window a lot of times on a lot of these signals. So to have the patience and the fortitude and the persistence to pull these out, it takes a special DXer. So David, my friend, you, Barry, all you guys that get the transatlantic stuff on a regular basis, kudos to you. It is very, very impressive. So well done, my friends. We got Earl just joined us in the chat. Well, perfect timing, my friend. We got a shout out for you here. I got 9 new stations this week, inching ever closer to my season goal of 1,300 logged. I'm currently at 1,292, so hopefully can reach 1,300 before the end of the season. Well, you're on the right track with 9 this week, my friend. The 2 highlights this week, we're logging a new Estado de Mexico. You got Baja California via XEPRS 1090. Yeah, I saw that in the Slack channel. You guys are hearing them this week. Nice. The incredible opening to eastern Oklahoma and Texas last night, netting me 4 new low-power stations from that region. 1470 KGND Oklahoma, 1280 KWHI in Texas, 1260 KTAE in Texas, 1280 KPRV Oklahoma, from which I've sent along a short legal ID clip, which we'll play. The other 4 new ones I heard this week were 1180 KLPF Texas, 1360 WMOV West Virginia, WCHL North Carolina, and 1430 WOWW, wow, in Tennessee. And so he's got a couple of things here. He's got new Latin American stations, so we got that. We got a New Mexican state to talk about, and the new logs as well. So well done, Earl. Oh, man, 1521. That was the first TA I ever heard. First time I ever heard a transatlantic station. I was in Greer. And my ICOM R72 and a long wire that I had just randomly up in the backyard. It was kind of a Z pattern, some weird thing. I was just going from this tree to that tree. I was just trying to get long. And picked up Saudi Arabia. This was probably 2012 that I heard that. And so you haven't heard him since. You also got a new Estado de Mexico, did Earl, so we're going to get you that. Baja California. I'm still searching for the Sir. Baja California Sir. That one is on my list. There you go, man. Well done. And we have a clip from Earl to listen to here for, this is KPRV 1280.
You're listening to KPRV AM 1280, Hoto, Oklahoma.
That'll do. That'll do. That's a nice, short legal ID clip. Yeah, that's a very nice, clear one. No doubt about that. Well done, my friend. Let's do a couple more, and then we'll put a pin in the rest here for our second hour. Keegan, Arkansas, Boot Crew North, 870 WPWT in Colonial Heights, Tennessee, Timeless Country, 96.3 The Possum at 0101 Zulu on the 16th of January, 657 miles with WWL Nulled. And 830 KDRI, Tucson, Arizona, with a Tucson reference and local car dealer ad at 0114 Zulu on the 16th of January, 993 miles with WCCO nulled. So well done to Keegan, our friend just up to the north of us here, getting a new one on 870, and they were on Naughty Naughty when they shouldn't have been, and KDRI in Tucson. I actually got Colonial Heights. Here, had used the Linrad to completely phase out local WWL, or mostly phase out WWL, which is not easy to do with our our big stick here down to the southwest of us, across the lake, 50 kilowatts. Not easy to get rid of that one, but we did. We got WPWT for a new one on 870. Anytime I can log a station on 870, I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's nice. That's nice. I think I'm up to 7 or 8 now on 870, which you wouldn't think. I mean, a 50 kilowatt station, and I've got 7 or 8 stations on there. And now the domestic ones are hard to get. When I do get those, they're usually because someone's on when they shouldn't be, like WPWT. But otherwise, it's the stuff down south. I would love to hear the Tucson. Arizona is another state, like Minnesota. Arizona is another state that, for some reason, this doesn't really line up very well here. We got one more here. Actually, 2 more. We'll do 2 more, and then we'll put in the rest for after the into the next hour. So 2 more. Our friend Neil Kazraz up in Illinois. The Kaz. Yes, the Kaz. 1260 KTAE in Elgin, Texas. Thanks to Earl for alerting me to it. Also, very AU conditions tonight. You saw him earlier in the chat. 1520 to be NDO Apopka, Florida, with the Haitian Creole. So there we go, my friend. All right, there you go. Well done, Kaz. And the next shout out here is not so much a shout out as it is a cautionary tale from our friend Sean Kutsko, KX9X, also in Illinois. This week was a cautionary tale. I lost my hard drive on my radio PC. Every one of us, we feel that tightening when we hear that, right? Lost my hard drive on my radio PC. I neglected to back up my files on a regular basis, and I lost 4 months of AMDX logs. Oh. Many top-of-hour IQ recordings and several recorded IDs. Oh, ow. It hurts. I spent this last week getting up and running on a new PC and have backed up my data as of this week. Which one did you go with? What PC did you end up going with? Learn from my experience. Back up your data on a regular basis, Sean. Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about here in the next hour. We're going to talk about PC options and some things you can use in your shack to save yourself some money, because you don't have to have a big extravagant SDR or a computer rather for most of these SDRs that are out there. Now, if you're running a big 24 megahertz bandwidth ELAD FDMS3, you're probably gonna need something a little more decent. But if you're just running an AirSpy or like an RSPDX or something like that, you don't have to break a bunch of money to get yourself a nice computer that will run very, very well in your shack. So we're going to talk about that in the next hour. So absolutely, if you do like a database, like an Access database or something like that on your computer for your logbook, backup. Another good thing to do is cloud-based, like Google Docs, Google Sheets. That's what we do here. I also about once a month will download my logbooks, my AM, my FM logbooks from Google Sheets from the cloud down to my computer, so I have a backup on my computer just in case something happens to the cloud. I've still got my logs, but I made the switch a couple years ago to fully cloud-based logbooks because it is just it's so much easier, so much nicer as far as how it kind of plays in with everything and kind of plugs into all these different things. So that is a great option as well. So my condolences, Sean. Hopefully that export from the frequency challenge was able to help you out and maybe get some of your stuff back in, especially from the more recent stuff that you said you were missing. So coming up next hour, we've got Aiden and we've got Stuart, but you've still got time to get your DX shout outs in. dxchallenges.com/shoutout. Submit those in on the form. Get those to us. That's pinned at the top of the chat right now. So you submit those, get those over to us, and we'll give you the old horn of victory there. Let's talk FM. Stephanie already knows what I'm about to talk about. She knows the bandwagon I jump on this time of the year every year, in between now and e-skip season. This is a fantastic time because FM is pretty much, I'm not saying you're not going to get something. Somebody's going to get some Tropo and they're going to be like, hey, or somebody's going to get some meteor scatter. See, he's not dead. And I know that. I know. There's going to be somebody who gets something. But by and large, for right now, FM is, for all practical purposes, dead band conditions, especially if you're sitting under a bunch of cold where the atmosphere is stable and you go outside and you look out and there's like a clear, cold day with no clouds in the sky. You ain't getting Tropo. Okay. So this is the time of the year to do some preparation, some work. So number one thing you can do, and this is the best time of the year to do it, was when the band is dead, is a local band scan. And a local band scan, for those who might not have heard my spiel before, is where you actually sit and you go frequency by frequency and you notate what you did or did not hear. Okay, that's the other thing that a lot of times I used to forget this. I would just notate what I did hear, but I wouldn't notate necessarily what I didn't hear. And that was something that once I flipped that switch over and I started doing that in my band scan, I noticed a difference. I'm trying to pull up my band scan here. I thought I had it handy. Let me just do a search. Band scan. Here we go. I found it now. Let's go up here on the computer. So this is my band scan. I do at least one a year. Every year, and you're going the entire band from 88. Actually, go do check at 87.7 because some of you guys have stuff down low. From 87.7 all the way up to 107.9. Okay, and you're going every single 200 kilohertz spacing. So 87.7, 87.9, 88.1, 88.3, and so on. Now, what I do is I notate. What do I hear? If there's a station there, what station is it? Now, I only do this during dead band conditions. It's really, really important. You want to notate just what you have during dead band conditions, and there's a reason for this. So I'm talking no Tropo, no meteor scatter, no enhancement, no skip, no nothing. It's just a February day when, like I said, it's a cold, clear day with not a cloud in the sky. There's no clouds. There's no precipitation. There's no warm fronts anywhere around. You're just getting dead band. Okay. This is when you do your band scan. And so you'll just notate what you hear. Okay. The stations that you hear, I put in the city location. I put in the format that I heard. I put in, if there was an RDS, what code was it? I also put in signal strength, and this is where I was not doing that unless it was there an actual station there. I wasn't doing that for my empty barren frequencies. And that was a mistake. I highly recommend that if you have an open frequency, whether there's open because you have HD on that frequency from an adjacent channel, or if it's truly open, right? There's no HD slop. There's nothing on the frequency. Notate your signal strength. I use dBm. So that's what you'll see here on this column right here is dBm. I notate what the signal strength is dead band, because if I go in there and I'm seeing something higher than that, that means there's something there, right? I'm getting something where deadband, I know my noise floor here is around 116.8 on that particular frequency right here on, what frequency is that? 92.1. 92.1 is one of my most productive frequencies here in the Mattonville area. And its noise floor is about 116, 115 dBm, right? So that's where I know that I can expect anything that's weaker than that, probably going to be in the noise. Anything stronger than that, I've got a chance at hearing. Okay. And then I notate every single frequency, whether it's open, HD, a station there, a strong one, a weak one, whatever. I notate the signal strength that I see on my SDR. If you don't have an SDR, you can do like a SINPO type thing, like a 1 through 5 scale, like this one's a 5 because it's a strong, or like a 0. Just notate some sort of indication of what you normally would hear deadband on that frequency on signal strength, whether there's a signal there or not. If it's a station that I hear there, I also notate their bearing. That way I can get an idea of what stations or what directions are they coming from. So I know if I'm going to be turning my antenna, what stations might I have in my way if I'm pointing to the northeast versus pointing to the west versus northwest or whatever. I also put in there additional notes. So like, not as strong as they were last time, or the format change, or an RDS change, or any kind of little notes that I want to put in there. I'll put that on. I'll put on there exactly what it is that I notated it, and I put the date that I did my scan. That way if I go back in, I want to do a second one later, I can do that. And then because I'm a little bit particular about my stuff, and I'm a little analytical here, I also put a category. That category has actually helped me out quite a bit. I categorize my frequencies by the categories you see over here on the right. I've got super strong local. So strong local, that means like, this is the strongest signal you can get. It's almost impossible to overcome. You're not going to get rid of it with E-skip. You're not going to get rid of it with Tropo unless it's like the strongest of Tropo, the strongest of E-skip. You better hope they have dead air or are gone for you to hear anything there. Open HD it's one of those super strong stations, but they carry HD and you're off to the side of it, right? So 93.3 here in New Orleans, WQUE, big strong station, 93.1, 93.5, that's their HD, right? So it's a super strong HD. So if I'm getting any kind of Tropo or skip, it's got to be stronger than that HD signal. Even though it's just static, even though it sounds like it's open, it's not really. There's a strong carrier there or signal there that has to be overcome by whatever the DX is. So I notate that. Semi-locals. These can be local. They can be regional, but it's a signal that's a little bit harder than it should be to remove. And when I say that this is something that you might evolve over time. So you might not know this if you're doing like your first couple of band scans, but after you've done a couple of band scans and then you experience some Tropo or some E-skip, then you can say, okay, I've noticed that particular signal, even when there's like decent Tropo, it's still in there. Like some of the stations in Baton Rouge are really bad for this, for me. Like 100.7 the Tiger. There's no reason that station should be as loud as they are here, but they are, and they are pain. And when we get Tropo, they usually are a little louder than they should be, and that makes them even harder to get rid of. So local can be a local or nearby, but it's relatively easy to be overcome by whatever skip is coming in. Fringe is a station outside of my NOLA metro area that's easily overcome. So I look at this like 94.5 KSMB. Unless we're getting Tropo in that direction, it's easy for that station to be overtaken by something else. 92.7, the Clinton station, that's K-Love. I would put that in the fringe or that maybe that local category there because it's easier to overcome. But it actually does stick around quite a bit actually. Open, there's nothing here. There's no HD, there are no signals, Nothing. That 92.1 that we saw, it's just open. These are the most important frequencies on your band. Those are the most important. That's why I put them in green, because I want them to stand out. When you are looking for DX, Tropo, Meteor Scatter, E-Skip, these are the first frequencies you check. These should be the number one stations you have programmed in on your SDR software. Like I've got, with my ELAD FDMS3, I've got full band coverage. So I've got a receiver that parks on every single one of those frequencies. And it just sits there and looks for RDS. Or I can just very quickly bounce between them and to see, okay, is there an opening? Those are the most important frequencies on your entire band. I'm talking no HD, no signals. It's just open, open, open. And the lower the noise floor, the better. Open, open, open. That is what you're looking for your DX. You're looking at those open frequencies. Here's one, 95.1, a negative 122.1 when it's dead band. That's the noise floor on that frequency. That's pretty good, right? That means I can get some pretty weak stations in there. I don't have a lot of those. As you can see, there's not a lot of greens, but when we do, it's a pretty nice open frequency. So I do this at least once a year. I'm looking to see if anything has changed. We had some stations that changed frequencies, changed format, changed RDS. We had some of that this last year. I had to move some stuff around, categorization and things like that. But you're looking to see if anything's changed from the last year. You want to reacquaint yourself with your local band, because this is going to be the intel that gives you the best possible chance of knowing exactly where to look when the opening hits. You don't want to be trying to figure it out. Where do I go? Where do I go? When the opening is there, because especially if it's E-Skip, you've got a very limited amount of time to get that in, right? To get that DX in. So the more prepared you are by doing these band scans, if you're newer to FMDX, or if you have not done one of these, I recommend doing 2 or 3 of these before the season starts. Just familiarize yourself. You should be able to turn the frequency on your radio and say, that's this, that's nothing. That's the HD from WQUE. You should be able to just rattle that off your entire band. When you get to that point, that's when you're ready for the skip season, right? You know your band inside and out, and you know it based off of right now because you've done the band scan and you've gotten yourself acclimated with your band as it sits right now today. Because there will be, like I said, there will be stations that change. There'll be stations that pop up, maybe LP stations that just show up out of nowhere. There'll be other ones that go away. And a frequency that wasn't open now just became open. And you're like, oh, I have a new opportunity here. Or like me this last year, I had one of my most productive open frequencies. I was so in love with 89.5. It was one of my first stops every time there was an E-Skip opening. And they put a station in Covington right to my north here, a classical radio station relay of a station from down in the city that I already had on 104.9. So now I've got 2 stations relaying the same program, and it killed one of my open frequencies for E-Skip. But I had to find that out during a band scan. Some other things that you can do here to prepare yourself for the upcoming DX season. This is some of the work that I'm doing now. Look at your setups. Start going through and evaluating, okay, I saw Matthew talking about an external antenna, looking at one of the NF antennas, like the log periodics, things like that. I love mine. I love my log periodic because with the full bandwidth SDR, that full bandwidth log periodic means I don't have any dips in the band that are as, with a Yagi, it's tuned to a specific frequency, like 102.1 or whatever it might be. So there'll be dips in your overall FM band frequency range where it doesn't perform as efficiently or as well on those frequencies as it does on the frequency it's tuned to. With a log periodic, it's tuned to multiple places within that span of your FM band. So it's going to give you better performance across. Now, you might have a lower gain than like a Yagi does, potentially, depending on how many elements you're talking about, which one you're comparing to. But it's broadband, so you're going to get more consistent performance across the entire band. Well, with a full band FM SDR, I need that, right? That's what I need. So start evaluating your setup. What do you have? What's your gear that you're working off of? How did it work for you last year if you did something? If you're brand new to the hobby, you're going to be just getting started. So this is your level set time. This is when you'll just want to get familiar with the band and get ready to experience your first E-Skip season, your first Tropo season, your first Meteor Scatter DX, if you're going to do that. This is your chance to get a nice good level set and figure out what you're doing so that next year you can start making adjustments. If you've already gone through a couple of seasons, now is the time when you're saying, okay, what can I do to eliminate noise and get my noise floor as low as possible? Do I want to put a low noise amplifier in so I can level set the noise floor, like one of the kits amplifiers, KT501, that we use here? I just ordered another one today for our next FM setup we're about to put over at Shortwave Central. What antennas am I using? Do I have an omnidirectional? Do I have an external antenna at all? Can I put up a Yagi or a log periodic, or do I want to do something like a dipole or something omnidirectional, like one of the turnstile antennas? Or do I need to keep something indoors? Maybe use something like a W6 LVP loop. So yes, it's a bit of a compromise on FM. It's not designed for that, but if it gets you DXing, it's better than not DXing, right? So evaluating what you have, what options do you have, what is at your disposal, what adjustments might you need to make, how can you bring your noise floor down? We're going to talk more about these topics as we get closer to the FM season, I promise you. But these are some of the things you can start thinking about now. Looking at your setup, do you want to add an online receiver? Do you want to? Yes, the answer is yes. Do you want to add an auto logger? You should. Do you want to have maybe some upgrades to your feed line? Maybe your feed line's getting a little old. Maybe there's some kinks in it. You need to replace the feed line. Maybe you have an old splitter that you need to replace. It was a cheap splitter, and now you want to replace it with like a nice Channel Master or one of the nicer splitters like that. So different things. So start evaluating your setup. See where you might need to start putting some money back to either upgrade antennas or radios or accessories, as it might be, and start planning for that. Because if you don't do that until May, you're going to miss DX. If you don't do it until April, you're probably going to miss some DX, okay? Do it now. Start that planning now, and you'll be ready for the FM season when we start really diving into that when we get into April. So this is a great time of the year to do that. But the number one thing, the absolute number one thing that you can do for yourself is band scan, band scan, band scan, band scan. At least do one. If you have time to do 2 or 3, great. Do a couple if you can. But at least minimum, especially if you've done before, at least do 1. If you've never done one before, I definitely recommend 2 or 3. Okay? All right. So let's talk about our next challenge, our next frequency challenge. We've been sitting on 1180 to 1220. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to get you ready for this next one, actually. This next one is going to be very similar in that we have some very big stations to contend with on some of the frequencies. Not all, but some of the frequencies. But there's also a good amount of stations, I hope you've seen that this week, that are there from sunset, sunrise portions of, the gray line times of the day. There are some other stations that are there in the shadows of those big stations that you can get maybe underneath them. Maybe they overtop take the frequency for a bit. But it's how do you get those stations that are underneath into your logbook? Well, that's going to serve you well this week as we do another frequency range where we have a mixture of big stations and the smaller ones underneath. Ready? This is one of my absolute favorite frequency ranges that we ever do on the frequency challenge because there's a little bit of everything here. You've got some really big stations like WLAC and WCKY and some of these others. You've got some really big stations that clear out the frequency. You've got some good stations you can hear underneath them sometimes, including some good Latin American, Caribbean, kind of Pan-American stuff. You've got the Bahamas on 1540. Ecuador makes an appearance on 1510 very regularly for folks in the U.S. You've got stations down in Mexico. You've got a bunch of different stuff here on this range, 1500 to 1540. So there's a little bit of something for everybody here, for most everybody. I know there's going to be folks like our friend Jacob up in Minnesota who has to deal with KSTP on 1500. That's going to be a beast. right? That's going to be a beast, especially if they're like super, super wide like they've been in the past. So there's going to be that, and Barry's got to deal with LAC. But when you have things like co-channel cancelers, when you have phasers, when you have directional antennas or loops that you can turn and things like that to help you try to dim down those big stations that are kind of in the way, that can definitely help. So let's go ahead and get started with some DX. This DX session brought to you by the National Radio Club, NRC, nationalradioclub.org is the website.
DX Central Live top of the hour alert.
All right, so we've got a couple of frequencies in here we're going to check here at this top of the hour. We're going to start with our old reliable. This is 1510. If you have never heard South America, this is one of those frequencies that you should have kind of just that you check on a regular basis, especially when conditions are auroral. Ecuador on 1510 underneath WLAC. This always tells me exactly how the band is. If I hear a loud LAC and from Ecuador, I'm not getting a lot of stuff down to the south. If it's flipped, that's a different story.
Absolutely true. Stacey and I, before I came to we had our own company in our town.
Same thing here, David. Same thing.
Sometimes we get a little bit back if the estimate is a little bit too much, but you'd rather that. Well, you get hit with penalty and fees expenses. That's correct. You want to do it by the book. If you guys want a great tax pro, CPA, mold agent, we've got our own network of tax pros connected to you and will help you just like Ramsey would. So you can listen at brandnewfeatures.com/tax pro and find us in your area. Don't wait. Don't be that person. It's April 13th.
So this is where I can use the co-channel canceller to get rid of the station I don't want, WLAC, and try to use that to enhance Ecuador. Yeah, Charles, this is one that I think, if conditions are right, you have a shot at with that being on the west coast of South America. There they are. There's Monumental. Let's check 1540, see if Bahamas. Oh, I forgot. I've got a local here out of Gretna. Yeah, 1540 is a tough one here. WFNO in Gretna should not be on the air right now. This loud. But here we are. I'm pretty sure that station underneath him is probably, though, Bahamas. There they go. When you can't find the carrier, use the auto-tune. That should be Bahamas. So we've got Bahamas here on 1540. Let's go take it down to 1530 now. It needs to be CKY probably. The ESPN. I did hear the ESPN sounder. $15.20. We have 7 stations here on 1520. 6 states, 1 country, so nothing but U.S. I haven't actually logged anything down south yet on 1520, so that's going to be a goal for me this week, is to get something outside of the U.S. on 1520. We've got Buffalo, we've got Apopka. We've got Lafayette, Louisiana, Cypress, Texas, Indian River, Florida, Oklahoma City, and Sikeston, Missouri. Those are the stations we have here on 1520. Let's see here. Here's my logbook analysis page here with our 1520 totals. Yeah, Battery and Kia would be great. I have not gotten anything from down south yet. So if we get a little bit of an enhancement this weekend, that'll be what I'm looking for. 1510, we know it's there. Got. Let's get rid of LAC. We had Radio Monumental in here a few moments ago. And 1500. We have heard DC here. We have heard Minnesota. Both of those are not common, though. Usually, this is what 1500 sounds like here. Nothing. Now, I have heard Peru, Radio Santa Rosa, out of Lima, on their very wide offset when they were here. And I have heard Mexico, XEDF, on 1500. But other than that, 1500 is kind of a meh frequency here for me. Kind of a gap. Would love to get 1520 out of Columbia. Would love that. Oh, is that Indian Rocks, Kaz? XYB? Yeah, it's them and the Haitian Creole duke it out here. You can get Texans on 1500 at sunset and maybe even sunrise. Yes. I have not done any sunrise sunset skip on 1500 if I remember correctly. Let me frequency charts. 1500. Yeah, I've done a little bit of sunset and hardly any sunrise, so that's going to be another thing this week. 1500, doing some gray line, 1520, trying to get down south. Those are some goals for me this week. So, going to be an interesting frequency range. I love these frequencies. There's a lot here to be excited about and to try for, but it's going to be a matter of, can we actually pull it off? Can we get some of this stuff? So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have more to talk about on the Live DX side. We're going to do some more Live DX. We got a couple more shout outs to get to. I want to spend some time talking about PCs. Based on Sean's experience he had this week, we were talking about a PC replacement for him in the shack. So I want to talk a bit about some of the strategy that I'm using now, because it's a little bit different than what it used to be. How I used to do my strategy. I used to buy like one big PC to rule them all and try to fit all my SDRs in there with a bunch of SDR ports or USB ports, but I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm going to tell you why and what I am doing that I think may help some folks that are having a hard time breaking into the SDR world. Might give you some options to be able to do that. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is heading your way right after this. And
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com. For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. The International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Can't get enough DX? Then the DX Central from the Static podcast is for you. Take DX Central on the go and listen to episodes from DX Central Live, interviews with prominent members of the DX community, tips, tricks, how-tos, your DX memories and stories. And that's just the start. You can find the From the Static podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Listen Notes, or anywhere you get podcasts, or by visiting FromTheStatic.net. That's FromTheStatic.net. For stories, signals, and voices from across the airwaves, don't miss the DX Central From the Static podcast.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
Scraping at the big blue sky. I got antennas, wall to wall, big ones, small ones, I've got them all. I can't pay rent, but the signal's clear. Antenna man's got no cash, my dear.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
What's he building? Has he lost his screws? It's a monument to the airwaves' mind. Who needs dinner when the radio buys? Static hum.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios in Mandeville, Louisiana. Here we go.
Antennas, wall to wall, big ones, small ones, I've got them all. Electric dreams, but the fridge is bare. Antenna man's living on radio air.
Oh, man. You got to have priorities. The fridge is bare. So she got those antennas up, right? It's Stephanie. If you're still in the chat, I can send you that link for the band scan. And I'm going to put a template of that up here soon that I'll be able to share with the world, so that you all can have that as a template if you'd like to use for your own FM band scans. You can repurpose it for AM too if you would like to do that. All right, let's talk about PCs. When I first got back into DXing back in 2012, and well, actually, let me fast forward a little bit. When I started doing SDRs in 2018, I had a laptop, it was either Gateway or HP laptop I was using, and so I was running through that, and then I was like, wow, I'm gonna have this AirSpy, I'm gonna have this this RSPDX, I'm gonna have a Perseus, I'm gonna have this, I was gonna have all these SDRs. I was like, I need a big PC with a bunch of USB ports on it. So I spent a decent amount of money on a PC, and put all my SDRs into it. So then I'm like, well, if I'm gonna have all my SDRs, now I have to have enough memory and overhead with enough cores and things like that on my processor. I need to have a fairly decent graphics card on there so I can have the good graphics processing if I'm running multiple SDRs at once. So I got a pretty nice computer at the time, and then that computer died after about 5 years or whatever it was. And then I got to thinking at the time, well, actually, even before that happened, I had already started adopting the use of mini PCs in my shack. And the reason I started with those was I wanted to have a specialized, like, this is my computer for this purpose. Like, this is my FM autologger PC. This is my FM DX PC, where I'm going to put most of my FM SDRs. I have one big PC that I have here in the shack that I use for like all my video editing for DX Central, and this live stream that you're watching right now is on this big custom built PC that I have. So I do have one big old PC sitting here in the shack. But if I didn't have to do the video production and the video editing and the music production and the audio and everything and the live streaming and all that stuff, I wouldn't have this. I would have more mini PCs. These mini PCs, let me actually show you guys what I'm talking about. Maybe some of you who might not know, because I wasn't familiar with these when I first started using them. I didn't know anything about them. So when you think of, like, I would go on, like, used to, what I would do is I go to Newegg, or one of those like Tiger Direct, or one of those. I hate Tiger Direct. Don't get me started on Tiger Direct, but Newegg or one of those places that would do like, you can get computers that like companies would have, right? They would buy a bunch of these computers. They'd have them for all their employees. Like when I used to work in a contact center, we had that kind of stuff. And everybody had a computer, every one of their workstations. Well, they would turn those computers and they'd sell them or whatever. They turn them back in, and Newegg would then refurbish them and clean them up and do all this stuff. And then you could buy them, right? So you could buy these refurbished computers for like $700-800, and these little towers and things like that. And so you can get a pretty good deal on a decent performer. That was what I used to do. But then I started getting into auto logging for my RDS auto logging, and I was like, well, I want to do this, but I don't want this to be on my main PC, because my main PC that I have all my other SDRs in, I don't want this kind of background process running that's hogging up resources. I want to just have a different computer for that, but I don't want to buy a new like Dell tower. I don't want to buy another laptop because those, then you have a battery and all the other kind of stuff you have to deal with and everything else. So what I started doing is I started doing some research and found these guys, these little computers, these little mini PCs. And so rather than spending $900 or more on a tower or whatever it might be, or God forbid, even a laptop, I would just get one of these little guys for like $200-300. And with these, there's a couple things you have to kind of keep in mind about them, and I'll talk about that, but they're super small. I've got two sitting over here in my SDR rack, and I have this like 3M super hook and ladder, whatever it's called, Velcro, 3M stuff, and it's like plastic. It's not actual Velcro, like fabric. It's like plastic fastener, and you can hold like 20 pounds with this thing. I've got this little guy here with that Velcro mounted up underneath my shelf. So it's not even on my desktop. It doesn't take up any desktop space whatsoever. And then you can do all your cable management and everything you want to do to kind of keep everything out of the way, tucked away, nice and nice. But I've got these little guys. And as long as you've got enough USB ports to support what you need to do, which we'll again talk about that in a second. An AirSpy HF Plus Discovery, as an example, using SDR Sharp software, is almost no processing power whatsoever on your PC. It takes so little processing power to run AirSpy HF Plus Discovery on SDR Sharp. SDR Console is pretty similar. It's a little bit more than SDR Console, but it's pretty similar. It's relatively low on your processing power and your graphics power and stuff that you need to run that program. So what I've done is I've now moved. I've got one in Studio B that has, I have an online receiver, a TEF headless online receiver on that PC. I've got an auto logger. Well, no, I'm sorry. Let me back up. That is now on a TEF desktop. I've got the headless online receiver on here. I've got my RSP Duo FM on one of these machines. So I'm running two independent antennas in for phasing and everything like that. And that's in the Studio B. And I think I've got something else plugged in there. I just can't remember off the top of my head. And then I've got two in here in the shack. I've got one that's got an AirSpy HF Plus Discovery, and I've got the other one is all my ham radio stuff. So I've got like my ham radio stuff plugged in. Right now it's being repurposed for DX radio, so I'm going to eventually replace and get a new one for ham radio stuff, and it's going to just be DX radio. Also on that AirSpy one, I have an RSP DX on that other mini PC as well. So this is the direction I'm going. We just got a new one here from Mom's house over at Shortwave Central, and so my AirSpy that's over there on the CAS, the big CAS, that's going to be what I'm connecting to, is our new mini PC that we have over there. It's a little different than this one. It's a little cube, but we're going to have that over there. And so I was talking to Sean. I was like, look, because he was like saying, I want to budget X amount of dollars. Like, look, you don't have to spend that much money for a PC for an SDR, because SDR strain on these processors is nothing, right? So you can run like one or two SDRs on one of these mini PCs, no problem. Now here's the cool part. I've got like the one back in Studio B, right? How do I get in DX? Do I have to be back there to go DX off of it? No, I don't. No, absolutely I don't. This is my AirSpy HF Plus Discovery that's over at Mom's house. I'm remotely connecting to it using Google's Chrome remote desktop. I can do the same thing here let me pull up another Chrome remote desktop. I'm going to go in. Let me log into it here with my PIN number that I have set up for it. This, I knew I was forgetting something. It's my NOAA Weather Radio SDR, the AirSpy R2. That's the other one I have plugged into that PC. I knew I was forgetting something. This is my PC that's back in Studio B. And I can sit here from my main shack computer or wherever I might be. If I'm on my iPad or my iPhone or any computer I might be on that I can connect to it, as long as I'm running Chrome Remote Desktop on both of them, I can sit here in DX as if I was sitting in there on that computer in there.
Outside the metro area. Baton Rouge.
That's my NOAA Weather Radio SDR. So when you take one of these mini PCs and you combine it with like remote desktop software, right? I just realized my lights are still red. You can log in from anywhere into that computer and use it. There's a couple different remote ones you can use. Parsek's another one. Chrome Remote Desktop is fantastic. I've had to use Parsec on a couple of my machines because I was using audio interfaces on those and that didn't work well with Chrome Remote Desktop. So Parsec is what I used to get around that. But you can remote into these and do all the DX you want to do. Now, here are the things you need to keep in mind. Number one is how many devices am I going to try to plug into it? I recommend 1, 2, maybe 3, depending on what you're doing. But 2 is probably the sweet spot for SDRs plugged into these mini PCs. So up to 2 SDRs. So you can make sure you have enough USB ports when you factor in if you have like a USB dongle for a keyboard or any other peripherals you're connecting to this mini PC. You're going to want to make sure you have enough USB ports to it. Like the mini PC that I have in Studio B, I've got one of those USB ports is for a headless TEF. One of those is for a keyboard, like my little wireless keyboard. One of those USB ports is for the R2. One of those is for the RSP Duo. So I've got 2 SDRs and a headless TEF running on that PC, and it works fine, right? Another thing you're going to want to think about is storage space. And this is a real consideration. So if you're going to be recording with your SDR on that little mini PC, most of these that you'll find on like Amazon or whatever, like the one that we looked at a second ago, let me pull that back up on screen. This is a 1 terabyte hard drive that's on here. It's a 1 terabyte SSD. So it's nice and fast, right? So that's good. SSD is good. It's a 1 terabyte. Now you can upgrade, and that's going to cost you more to get like a 2 terabyte or more. But this one, it's a AMD Ryzen 3 4300 quad core, 16 gigs of RAM, which is more than enough to run these SDR programs, as long as you're not doing like super wide bandwidth, and a terabyte of SSD, and you can run your through an HDMI cable to your monitors or whatever you want to do. So you'll want to make sure you have enough USB ports for all your devices, and then with the storage, that's the other big thing. So you may have to do like a external SSD. They have them on Amazon. You can get like a 2 terabyte or a 4 terabyte. I just got a 2 terabyte over at Mom's house. A little 2 terabyte SSD that you can throw onto, or you can get like a little flash card or whatever it might be, that whatever formats are supported by the PC that you have. And you just move stuff over as you need to. Another thing that you can do, something to consider, and this is what I'm actually going to do this weekend at Shortwave Central, is, let's say for like an AirSpy, I'm going to set up the AirSpy as what's called Spy Server. So basically what it does is it turns that AirSpy into an online receiver that I can then connect to from here in my shack using SDR Sharp here in my shack. I'm not running SDR Sharp on the remote computer. I'm running Spy Server software. So it's just making the SDR available. And then here in my shack, I connect to it, and then I pull it up as a server, and now I can DX and record and do everything on my computer in my shack using this computer. You can do the exact same thing with like an Raspberry Pi. The PC we're going to be doing this on is going to be running Linux. like in Ubuntu or whatever. You can do it that way. And so there are different options depending on your comfort level and your knowledge level and what you're comfortable with. There are different options you can look at. Another thing, so we talked about the USB, we talked about the storage. Another thing you're going to want to make sure you pay attention to, because this bit me in the rear end this weekend, is the operating system. What operating system does it have, right? In this case, it doesn't specify. I know this one because I have this one. This is a Windows 11 machine. Let me go to, where is it? You'll want to look for the operating system. Most of the operating systems, most of these little mini PCs will come preloaded with like Windows 11. A lot of them are Windows 11 Pro. Maybe you might get one that's like a home or whatever. But you'll just want to be careful of that and make sure that you've got an operating system loaded. I got one this weekend. Or this week here. It's actually the same one we're going to be doing over at Mom's house. I got this little guy because it was on sale. It doesn't have an OS. So that's why I was like, okay, now I'm going to have to scramble here and figure out what I want to do. Do I want to go buy a license for like Win 11 Home and go the remote desktop route like I showed? Or do I want to put up a spy server using like Linux or something like that I can remotely connect to that way? So there's some different options. The cool thing I like about this one, and this is why I bought this one, is that this particular one, where is it? Come on. There's a picture. There we go. You see these little slots on here? Each one of those is a slot for a NVMe SSD hard drive. 5 of them. Well, there's 6. One of them is your operating system hard drive. So it comes with a terabyte operating system hard drive. But you can put in 5 more NVMe SSDs, like 2, 4 terabytes, whatever you can afford. So you can just keep adding them as you go. And so you can do like 20, 24 terabytes worth of storage on this little bitty PC. So my one that I got here at the house, that's my NAS server. My first NAS server is going to be this little guy. Yeah. That's the other thing that you can do. You can put, you can do like a NAS server if you're worried about storage space. If you're hip to that, right? If that's something that you would like to do, you could do a NAS server with something like this. And then your little mini PC, you just throw everything onto the NAS server, all your recordings and stuff. So you don't have to worry about running out of room on your PC. Leave that one pristine and nice and clean, and you throw everything on the NAS server. So you could do something like that. So there's options here. So what I want you to kind of think about is if you're looking at your shack and you're either on the fence about getting an SDR and you're like, well, I got to buy a computer and I got to buy the SDR, there are options here. Get you a mini PC. Like I said, they're going to be somewhere between just under $200 to about $300 is the average that I've typically seen, depending on how much memory you've got and hard drive storage space and all that kind of stuff. So somewhere between just under 200 to about 300 is the average. You can run 1 to 3 SDRs depending on what they are. If you were gonna do like 3 air spies, that might actually work. Actually, you could probably do that, but I would say like 2 SDRs and like a auto logger or something. That should be fine. You can use remote desktop software to remote into it and connect in and do what you need to do. And that's it. I mean, there is stuff here that you can use without having to break the bank and go out and fork out money for a big expensive tower or a laptop or whatever. It doesn't have to be super expensive. You can get one of these little mini PCs and save yourself some money and still have a very, very effective PC for SDR use. Because like I said, if you're running SDR sharp, the amount of headroom that requires is tiny. It's tiny, tiny, tiny. So you can do a lot of really good DX that way without having to really stress your PC. So there you go. So that'll be one of the projects I'm working on this weekend is getting Linux loaded up on one of these little Cube mini PCs, getting Spy server put on there so I can run the Air Spy from her house and just go in. And if you've never seen this, it's really, really cool. Let's say I'll do it from my main one here. So this is my local copy here of SDR Sharp. And I'm going to go click on the little hamburger up here in the top left-hand corner. You can't really tell it from here. But in the top left-hand corner of SDR Sharp for our podcast folks, There's a little hamburger, little 3 stacked horizontal lines. And under source, you're looking for the option that says AirSpy Server Network. And choose that. And then when you do that, there's a box here that has like an IP address entry area where you put in the IP address of the one that you're trying to connect to. There is a little button next to that where you actually would hit that to connect to that unit. But if you don't know which ones you're trying to find, next to that button, next to the connect button, there is a little 3-dot button. If you click on that, it actually brings up a map of online AirSpy receivers. How cool is this? I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but this is a map that shows you online SDR, AirSpy SDRs, spy server SDRs that are available worldwide. So you can use this to find one that you want to check out. So if you can't find a Kiwi in the spot you're trying to find, and you want to try to find something else, you've got some options. I just realized there is a AirSpy spy server in Costa Rica running an RTL SDR, but it's covering FM. That's interesting. It's covering FM on up. That's interesting. I was hoping it was going to cover AM. There's a couple in Mexico down here. There's some over in Europe. So this is how, if you just want to try it out sometime and do an AirSpy spy server on your copy of SDR Sharp, you can do that. That is an option. But that'll be what I'm working on this weekend, is getting that set up to be able to connect to it from here at the house, so I can DX. And when I do recordings, it's on this machine. It's not clogging up the hard drive on that mini PC. And then I'm going to set up those extra little slots of SSDs to set that up as a NAS server over there at the house. So I have extra NAS in addition to the NAS that I have over here. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. All right. Let's see. We are, I think we're about time for some more shout outs. Let's do some more shout outs.
Shout out loud, hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM, from C to C. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found out. Shout out loud.
There we go. Now we got it. Gotta be on the right input.
From AM to FM, from C to C. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
Gotta be on the right input for things to work here. Our friend Stuart W8 SRC wants to know, where can he access that map? Absolutely, let's show you. So I'm gonna put this on here. All right, so this is the AirSpy on SDR Sharp. Right, so in SDR Sharp, you go over here and you click on the little hamburger, and then you click on source, or hover over source, and you're gonna see an option here that says AirSpy Server Network. Click on that AirSpy Server Network, and then that's going to pull you up a connection option here on your source tab for you to plug in an IP address and all the stuff you need to do. Over here to the right, so you'll have your box where you plug in the IP address you want to connect to. There's a button right here next to it to the right of it that you would click on to actually connect. That's your connect button. To the right of the connect button, you see 3 little dots. Those 3 little dots bring up your map. That's what you're looking for. We also have another option for you. If you go to livedxing.com and then scroll all the way down to the bottom of our main page here at livedxing.com, you'll see a couple of different providers here that we have pulled up. We have the fmdx.org web server for all the online FM receivers. We have the KiwiSDR map, so you can get to that very easily to see all the different Kiwis that are out there. Similarly, there is the general Open Web RX map that has all the Open Web RX ones for like the 888, the Kiwis, that kind of stuff. And then there's also the AirSpy spy server map here as well, so that you can find those stations you want. You can grab those IPs, plug that into your spy server box on SDR Sharp, and then you are good to go. So there you go. So let's click on that here. This gives me everything I need to know. It's connected, so all I have to do is just copy this little address right here, plug that into my copy of SDR Sharp and that IP address box, and then boom, I am connected to that SDR, hopefully. So that is on our website, livedxing.com, all the way at the bottom of the page. You'll get through, you'll see our Kiwis, our FM receivers, and then down the bottom are the other online SDR providers, including the AirSpy map. So those are a couple different ways you can get to that. Alrighty, let us do some shout outs. And let's actually start with Stuart. While we're talking about Stuart, let's start with Stuart. Not too many new logs here, but I did manage to hear another new pair of AM Skywave logs last night. The Possum 870 WPWT in Colonial Heights, Tennessee, 408 miles. Nice. Glad you guys also got in on that one. That's the only new one I have this week, by the way. That's my only shout out is WPWT. Score North 1500 KSTP, perfect timing. 501 miles over his local. Now do that again, you can do it for the challenge. I also decided to do my dead band scan tonight on both FM and NOAA Weather Radio. I promise you this was before I mentioned anything about our band scan stuff that we were talking about, so he just did this on his own. Well done. I was surprised to find a handful of never before heard FM stations. See, it happens. You think you got the band on lock, and then you come back and do a band scan, you're like, wait, where did that come from? New stations pop up, stations move, change frequencies, change calls, formats, things happen. Those band scans are super important. Smile FM 88.7 WFNT in Adrian, Michigan. You'll also have times where you'll be like, oh, I think I've logged all my local stations, but you forgot one, right? I've done that where I'm like, did I not ever log that? And it's probably because at some point you're like, it's just a local. Let me keep on looking, right? Smile FM 88.7 WFNT in Adrian, Michigan at 31 miles. Smile FM 88.9 HSI in Litchfield, Michigan, 54 miles. Detroit, Michigan at 31 miles over local translator. This is 92.7 The Answer W224CC. Relevant Radio 94.1 W231CV in Holly, Michigan at 36 miles. Relevant Radio 94.3 W232CA in Detroit, Michigan, 31 miles. The Salt 96.7 W244DL in Detroit at 26 miles. I found one station in my current band scan that wasn't on the air yet during last year's band scan. See? New one. This is great. This is proof of concept right here in the shout out. Love it. B93, 93.7 WBCT in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Is every station on 93.7 B93? I feel like they are. I mean, I've lived in like 5 different towns that had a B93 on 93.3 or 93.7. Every one of them. 95 miles for him from Grand Rapids, 15 miles further than last year thanks to upgraded equipment. So there you go. He's getting a little further out. He's upgrading his equipment. He's looking to see how can I lower the noise floor, how can I get better antennas, better SDRs, and it's getting him out further during these deadband conditions. Smart. Here are my 2. I'm sorry. I mixed up. So the station that was on the current band scan that wasn't there last year was Smile FM 102.3 W272DG in Pittsfield Township, 5 miles. So that's the new one that wasn't there before. The 2 furthest logs of the band scan were the B93 that's now 15 miles further than last year thanks to upgraded equipment, and his NOAA Weather Radio, 95 miles, same as last year, on the .525 KZZ47 in Cary, Ohio. So he heard that one deadband as well. So NOAA Weather Radio buffs, also a good time for you to be doing your band scan, looking for your NOAA Weather Radio stations to see what you hear during dead band, so you'll know what are my open frequencies to look for during those openings. I've been absolutely hooked on DX Radio this week. My interest in the station makes me think of how obsessed I was with the music of the ham band in high school. So my favorite tracks include Velocity Factor, nice. Radio Crush, my wife actually, she heard that one and she's like, really? Like a Rebecca Black pop song for DX? I was like, yeah. Locked in Frequency and the MWDX Slack Attack. In fact, the song Log It or It Didn't Happen, which is playing as I type the shout out, inspired me to create my own FM and NOAA Weather Radio logbook using the numbers program on Mac. Awesome. Once I update it with these new stations, along with a few semi-locals that I missed, I'll be up to 424 FM stations, 72 NOAA Weather Radio stations heard within 25 miles of Ann Arbor. My man. So now DX Radio is not just there for fun. It's also inspiring people to do cool things. I love it. We have completely enveloped ourselves in the DX magic at this point. So we've got some really cool stuff to do here for you. We've got some logs to saw for our friend Stuart. All the boys want to use my radio. She did. She laughed. She's like, really? That's, okay. Like, don't you judge me. Don't judge me on my DX music.
I'm the signal you're tuning in.
We'll play one of your favorites here for you as we get you that milestone challenge as well. For breaking your mileage record for your dead band conditions, getting your logbooks updated. There you go, man. Well done. Next up on our shout out list is Aiden. Can you guys tell I'm having fun with this DX radio thing? Aiden up in Michigan as well. Our Michigan guys always come in with some good stuff here. Here's all of my new logs for the past 6 days between Clear Channel, WHAM on 1180, Strong Local WMUZ on 1200, and Uberpest HKW on 1220. I didn't get much of the challenge. I'm completely empty handed when it comes to new stations on the challenge frequencies. That's cool. That's cool. Hopefully, though, it gave you a chance to try out, right? Because the challenge part of the challenge is sometimes we have locals, sometimes we have pest big dominant stations or noise or something hampering us from hearing DX. So the challenge part of it is overcoming that and knowing how to be able to overcome those to get DX, right? Still being able to get something out of it. So hopefully you did have a chance to do some work on those frequencies and try to get you something. And if nothing came up, then nothing came up. That's what happens sometimes. Past 6 days, some new logs. 1240 WSBC, Chicago, Illinois. Number 30 from the state, 225 miles. 1570 out of Laval, Quebec, CJLV. That's Quebec number 8, 524.5 miles. Heard French music, only station on the frequency that plays French music. While I was at it, I also heard XERF down in Mexico for a second time. Nice. 1590 WCSL, Cherryville, North Carolina, number 19 from that state, 488 miles. WCMD, Cumberland, Maryland, 1230, number 9 from Maryland for 302 miles. Catch. 620 WHEN, Syracuse, New York, 369 miles for the 31st station from New York. My first station from the Syracuse market, a market that I wanted a station from for quite a while now. Man, I got them coming out of my ears on FM. AM, not so much, but on FM, I can't give away a Syracuse. I got too many from on the FM side. That's seems like every time there's an FM e-skip opening, it's Syracuse, Niagara Falls area, that whole swath of the country. 830 WTRU, Kernersville, North Carolina, for the North Carolina number 20, 452 miles. 630 WLAP in Lexington, Kentucky, 292 miles for the number 26 out of Kentucky. Heard Talk, which matched your stream. Facing my trusty portable south to Null CFCO, the first station on 630 besides the mentioned local, one less frequency where I only have one station on. See, this is something from last week Aiden was talking about, going after those frequencies where there's just one station logged. That logbook analysis, that awareness will help you get DX. If you're not doing logbook analysis stuff to identify the gaps in your logbook, you're leaving DX on the table. You're missing out. And so well done, Aiden, that you are, my friend. 720 WGST in Hogansville, Georgia, number 16 from that state, 641 miles. Shout out to Rick for telling me that WGST stays on a little while longer after Pisgah signs off on 720, and I was able to hear some talk that matched their stream. There you go, man. Once again, the Slack channel coming together for us and getting us some good intel. 1050 WFSC in Franklin, North Carolina, 487.5 miles. I used to work for them. Well, I was on the station, but I wasn't. I was the news director for their sister station. Me and their news director would trade stories all the time to help each other out because we didn't like our job. 600 WCVP Murphy. Now this one I did work at. This is one of my internship stations. 600 WCVP in Murphy, North Carolina. 22 from North Carolina here. 498.5 miles. Nice to hear anything on 600 besides WSNL's Religious Talk or CCAT's Country. And it was Murphy, North Carolina. My old stomping grounds up around the Brasstown area. And like I said, this was one of the ones I did my internship on. 680 WPTF, Raleigh, North Carolina. 511 miles. Been starting to notice that local WNZK doesn't switch to 680 until 7 p.m. now, which is about an hour and a half after their local sunset. And that night I heard the 3. WNZK was still on 690 until 8:40, a whopping 3 hours after local sunset. Also lots of North Carolina this week. There you go. I missed one here. 780 rather. WPT in Cookeville, Tennessee, 437 miles. 680 WDBC in Escanaba. I hope so. Michigan, 303 miles. There's one of those other 680 stations you heard. And CJOB in Winnipeg. Nice. Manitoba. That is... maybe with this I could finally break into Alberta or even British Columbia if the path is open to Manitoba. Hey, man. Was Manitoba a new Canadian province for you, by the way, Aiden? Let me know in the chat. Because you know why. We got to let the moose loose if we have the opportunity to do that. See, 970 WWRK in Florence, South Carolina, 588 miles. Air check shared here is for CMGW and XECPAE from last week. Maybe you can tell which one of the two I most likely got since you didn't play the air checks last week. So yeah, let's take a look here. We have, I think this is what, 660, right? That's a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't hear anything identifiable in that clip. So I wouldn't be able to make a call on which one you got on that one based off of that. But hopefully they come back around for you and we can get them in the logbook for you. New Gullah Cheese, we'll start there. There's Chuck in the house. 1060, not 660, my bad. I was thinking something else. And new logs for Aiden as well. There we go. So we got a clean slate. If you have a shout out that you would like to get in, something new, send it on over, dxchallenges.com/shout out, and we'll get it in here before we wrap up the evening this next hour. What was the other topic? Okay, so we talked about that. So we do have a potential for some auroral conditions this weekend for AMDX at least. So there's going to be a potential for, I think tonight, tomorrow, somewhere in here, aurora down as far south as like Iowa. I think that's what I saw on the news story that I saw. So we could see some auroral enhancement, a little southerly enhancement for some folks this weekend. So definitely keep your ears peeled, your antennas tuned down to the south, and see what might pop up. Maybe something might come in and give you a country or a station that you didn't have before. All right, the next thing I want to talk about here, and this is it's a little bit different from what I usually talk about. You guys know a lot of times I mine for topics for our videos and things like that we do on DX Central from social media. Things that I see, common questions that I see, or things that people are asking about or whatever. So this is one of those situations. This is me looking on social media and seeing kind of some of the trends that are out there, people asking for stuff or doing stuff or whatever. And I wanted to kind of touch on this. So I've seen a rise in recent years. This didn't used to be as prevalent a couple of years back, but this has really gotten much more prevalent recently. And it's probably because we have more newer DXers to the hobby, which is awesome, which is freaking awesome. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And this isn't a problem, but I think I can help for some folks. I'm seeing more and more people posting clips on social media of a station and they're like, who is this station on XX frequency playing country music? And they'll have a clip of some country music or whatever, or religious music or religious sermon or whatever it might be. Or maybe they don't even have a clip. Maybe they're just saying, I'm hearing this on this frequency. This is the format. Who is it? And one of two things happen. Either it becomes a guessing game where you have people based off of the band that they know at their location, right? So if I'm going to answer you, it's going to be based off of what I know the band is in Louisiana. Now, I've lived in a couple of different locations, so I might have a little bit different look on that frequency based off where I've lived off of. But most people, it's going to be based off of the band that you know. So, if it's someone out in California or someone up in North Dakota or someone over in Virginia, wherever it might be, your guesses are based off of your knowledge of the band. And so sometimes we don't always see people taking that into account of the location of the DXer who was posing the question. So let's say I've got a DXer in Iowa who's like, hey, I'm hearing this on 640. I'm hearing this particular format. Who could it be? And so then we have somebody in somewhere else who's giving their guess, and it's completely like not like they're super, super far from Iowa. So it's like what they're saying it probably is like there's no chance that's who they're hearing. It's a completely different band for them. So a couple of things that I wanted to kind of share for especially our newer DXers to help out a little bit, because I think this can help you to get more of a response and more stuff in your logbook, because we end up with either the guessing game or we end up with the nothing because there's not enough information. Okay, so let's talk about IDing a station really quick. My rule of thumb that I usually try to go by is I need at least a minimum of 2 for AM. I need a minimum of 2 pieces of verifiable information for me to be able to say this is who it is. Okay. Format is low on that list. Formats change and formats are not exclusive. And even, this is where I've mentioned this before, be very, very careful about matching music to live streams. For US stations especially. If it's out of the country, it's a little bit different. But in the United States, as an example, I was at a radio station, 680 WRGC. We subscribed to ABC News, and we also subscribed to ABC's music for like adult contemporary, right? We were like the dentist office station. Today's hits and yesterday's favorites, 680 WRGC. Now they're on 540, I know. Back then we were on 680. And so our format was whatever ABC was putting in the pipeline. Now, when I was a DJ, I was live DJing, but it was the music that would have been playing on the satellite at that time. So they would print us out a list of, okay, here's all the songs for this hour. Here's the order you're supposed to play them in, because this is what's being played on the ABC station at this time. So I would introduce just as if I was getting it directly from the satellite, but I'd be introducing it, right? I say that as a caution because that pipeline of that satellite programming or coming down the internet is not exclusive to that frequency. You could theoretically have more than one station playing that exact same format from that exact same provider. Westwood One is one of those. You're going to hear a lot of Westwood One stuff. So you could have a Westwood One station on 960 playing country music and another Westwood One station on 960 in another location playing the exact same country music at the exact same time because it's being fed by the network. And then you go to match it and you're like, hey, it matches up to the stream. Well, so does the other station. It's like matching up ESPN and saying, oh, I matched it up to ESPN and they were both broadcasting the game. Well, so is every other ESPN station on that time. And there's not just one ESPN station on every frequency necessarily. There could be more than one. So be very, very careful about using formats and music live streams for US stations for being like 100% that's who it is. It can be very deceiving, can be very misleading sometimes. Ideally, what you're listening for, and this is where patience comes into play. I know it's super, super frustrating when you have a station and you're like, they're super strong and they're playing some music and then they fade out right when the music ends and there's either IDing or going to a commercial break. I know that's frustrating. but you have to be patient. You have to be patient. It's going to fade back up again. Hopefully that's going to be at a positive ID time for you. But just know there are times when if all you have to go by is a format, that's not going to be enough for someone else to be able to help you. Now, in the case of something international, it may be. If you come to me and you say, hey, I've got orchestral classical music on 530 or on 590 and a woman talking in Spanish, who could that be? It's Cuba. I can tell you that's Cuba. 590 is Radio Música Nacional and 530 is going to be Radio Encyclopedia. Those are the exceptions, right? When we're talking domestic stuff, that's not going to be enough for anybody to help you narrow it down. Unless it's like, hey, I'm on 1040 and I'm hearing news talk and they're talking about Iowa stuff. Could that be WHO? Probably. I can't tell you 100% that it is. I mean, I've got a news talk station down here in Florida that mixes WHO. They could be talking about something going on in Iowa. And I think, oh, well, that's Iowa. No, it's Florida, right? I've had that happen to me before. So be very, very careful when you're grabbing these little snippets and trying to get people to help you ID those. The rule of thumb is you need at least a couple of pieces of information, verifiable information, before you should feel comfortable about, yeah, that's who I got, right? If we're talking domestics. Now, international stuff's a little bit different. But domestics, it can be because of the density of stations that we have, especially if you're closer to the East Coast. The density of stations that we have and the number of different stations that may be doing the exact same format, sometimes at the exact same time. Like I've heard Mark Levine echoing on certain frequencies. I've heard Sean Hannity echoing. I've heard coast to coast. Coast to coast, there are multiple frequencies on the band where any given night you can hear an echo of coast to coast from all the stations broadcasting coast to coast on that frequency. So things like that, be very, 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 very careful, because that can lead you down the wrong path and get you a station in your logbook that maybe was the wrong one. Maybe you got a better one and you didn't even know it, right? You might have actually gotten a more exotic DX catch and you didn't realize it because you went with this other one that wasn't the one, but it seemed like a safer bet, but you just put it in there because you were like, that's probably who it is. Probably is not a log, right? Everybody has their own criteria for what is and what is not a log. So I'll leave it at that. But just kind of be careful. Let's go ahead and get some DX, and I know we're right here at the top of the hour. Let's go back to 15s. Let's see how we're looking here. Oops, I went a little far. 1530. Let's see what we got here in this. Let's see 1520 if we have anything coming in. International. Going back and reading through the chat. Haven't heard anything identifiable yet here on 1520. And that can happen, right? I've got a station that's doing something in Spanish. Music. Let's see if I can get enough of them. And those stations down in Florida fake me out all the time on 1520. I think I finally got something down south, and it's just one of my 2 stations in Florida. I think this one is Indian Rocks, WXYB. I think that's who we're hearing right here. That Kaz you were looking for earlier. There's also a couple stations in Texas that are Spanish on this frequency. So this frequency for me is like a mind messer-upper. Yeah. Well, that might be a local ad. Hold up. I forget about him, Jacob. That's always the problem. I'm like, oh, something Latin. All right, let's see what we got. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. Florida. Texas. I forget about him every time. I hear the Haitian Creole in there. That's WNDO. The Kaz got earlier.
So it'll be ready for whatever. Why would you go anywhere else? It's true. Now we're going. Time to do something. We are the soldiers of the guard.
We'll talk of Acadiana, Lafayette. That is one of those pieces of information, identifiable information, that are really, really good. If you hear an ad on a station for the interstate name here, Association of Broadcasters, you're not going to hear the Oklahoma Association of Broadcasters, PSA, on a station in South Carolina. Now, you be careful, because you might hear the Oklahoma Association of Broadcasters on a station in Texas or Kansas or Arkansas, if it's right there on the border, you might, right? We used to have the Georgia Association of Broadcasters on some of the stations in North Carolina that I worked at that were right there at the border. We had that. So that's a possibility that you have to kind of keep in mind. But at least it tells you, gives you an idea. You're either in the state or you're right on the border of that state. Gives you an idea who it kind of narrows it down to who it could be. Same thing with those National Guard promos. If you hear the Louisiana National Guard, well, there's only one station in Louisiana on this frequency, and it's KFXZ out of Lafayette. So you're not going to hear a Louisiana National Guard ad on a station in Arkansas or Texas unless you're right there on the border, maybe. But there's nothing really close to the border. There's one station in Louisiana that's narrowed it down for me, and I have heard them here. So that's an example. Local ads are phenomenal identifiers. Local ads. Man, if you hear a phone number, get that Google search going. Get that area code search going. If it's not a toll-free number, search for that number, search for that website address, the physical address, the business name. Those kinds of things are going to help you narrow those down. I feel a lot more comfortable about putting a station in my logbook if the only thing that I had to identify was a handful of local ads, a telephone number, and maybe a couple of business names, and they all point to this exact same location where there's a station. I feel really good about that. I may have the call sign wrong if I didn't hear the call sign ID and they've changed call letters or something. I might have that wrong, but I got that station, right? I feel good about that if I've got enough local identifiable information to put it in my logbook. That's for domestics. International stuff, it's a little different. International stuff, we almost have to rely on live stream matching. We almost have to be able to use like Kiwis and things like that to match up because they're usually weaker signals, or a lot of us are not familiar with the language. So we have to use that to match up. And if I'm on 1510 and I'm hearing a Spanish station under WLAC and they're playing music, and I go match that music up to Radio Monumental out of Ecuador, there's probably not many other stations out there in the world on 1510 playing that kind of music, right? I feel good about that match because that's a unique thing to that Ecuadorian station. They play a unique kind of music that is specific to Ecuador and the Andes area. You're not going to hear that on a station in Texas, probably, more than likely. So those are some things that you'll want to keep in mind. So I'm kind of continuing my spiel from earlier. So be careful about using live streams as matches and using format as the only qualifier for a verified station. Right, in your logbook, putting a station in your logbook. Be careful about using music matches. Here's another one for you. It may not even be that like they're both using Westwood One or ABC or whatever content provider. You could have a station. Let's say you have a station in Arkansas Rocks. They're playing a Led Zeppelin song. At the exact same time, you have another station, not Arkansas Rocks affiliated, another classic rock radio station playing the exact same song, maybe a little bit different timing in the song, but the exact same song. Well, if you're matching up and you're like, oh, well, I'm hearing this classic rock, it's got to be Arkansas. It could be the other station. This happens a lot on FM. At any given time, especially if it's a top 40 station, how many stations in the U.S. right now on FM do you think are playing a Taylor Swift song right now? Or Dua Lipa right now? When Miley Cyrus had, what was the one from a couple years ago? Flowers, when that song was so big, how many stations in the U.S. do you think were playing Flowers at any given time? I hear Flowers all the time on stations international, down in Mexico, Colombia. To this day, still hear that song on those stations. Some of you guys brought up Rebellion sometimes playing music, popular music. That happens. Progresso does too. Time to time. They play a lot of, like, I've heard the Beatles on Progresso quite a bit. And over here going like jamming out thinking, all right, I got a new station playing oldies. It's just Progresso. Coast to Coast, mentioned them. Jacob talked about their bumper music. Gets me a lot. I get fooled by that as well. I get noried. So some things to think about as you're, especially for our newer DXers, but our advanced DXers. I'm looking at myself in the mirror as I say this as well, because I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I'll put up a clip and I'll be like, "What's this? Anybody got an idea who this might be?" And I'm really not providing any information that's really usable or identifiable, right? So keep that in mind. Try to come with as much quantifiable and specifically identifiable information as you possibly can. If you're posting a clip to social media, unidentifieds are great. And I've sourced unidentifieds. I mean, that's something I used to do all the time when I was younger in the NRC. I would put up unidentifieds all the time. I heard this and this and this and this, mentions of this and this and this. Any ideas what that could be? My most famous was on 750. I had a station under WSB when I was living in Brasstown. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning on 750. I had a very clear week under WSB. Again, I'm living in just across the line from Georgia in North Carolina. And I heard very clearly a station running UPI network news. None of the station list. NRC log, nobody was listed as UPI. M Street Directory, back when that was a thing. Remember the M Street Directory? I love that thing. No UPI. I was calling every radio station that I knew of that was on 750, including ones in Alaska, right? The one up in Alaska. I even called them. Sorry, Mom. I'm probably still paying for that phone bill. And I was like, do you guys have any programming that you carry from UPI network? Nobody said they did. To this day, I have no idea who I heard on 750 carrying UPI network news. I had that one out there, and I had a couple of little things that were in there as well in that, but UPI was the big one. And I didn't have enough information. I had no idea who it was. They faded out not long after that, and they were gone forever. That was on the Drake SPR4 and the Kiwi Air Core loop that I heard that. At like 2 o'clock in the morning. At the same time, that night, I'm pretty sure the same night, Dad and I had both heard KFI out of LA and KNX. So we had a nice Western opening. So I was excited. My guess is it was probably Utah. If I had to guess, it was probably Utah. But it could have been Oregon. I don't know. But nobody owned up to having UPI. Nobody was listed as having UPI. So to this day, that is the one that's one of the big ones that got away. Have no idea who it was. And sometimes, as the kids say, it be like that. So something to kind of think about. Yeah, some intern at the station answering was like, UPI, I don't know. Like, no. So there you go. So when you're posting stuff to social media, just kind of keep that in mind. Try to come with as much information as possible, as much detailed and specific information. Don't forget to put where you're located, please. Please put where you're located. That's the number one thing I see people forget all the time, and it's like, I can't help you if I don't know where you are. Where you're located, as much information as you possibly can, whether it's a video of you filming your portable radio or an SDR screen grab, whatever. Have as much detailed information as you possibly can about what you were hearing, when you were hearing it, and hopefully someone can help you out. But just know you're not going to probably have a lot of success if all you're doing is a format. I heard country music on 860. There are several. Or 680. There are several. And so you're going to have it's going to be a guessing game. People are just going to be guessing. But nobody's really going to have a real answer for you if that's all you got is format. So something to kind of keep in mind. All right. 1500 to 1540. That's our frequency range for this week. I mentioned to our patrons that here next week we'll have a show next week, and then we're going to have 3 weeks off from the live stream. Mardi Gras. So we got to do some Mardi Gras things here. My wife's actually going to have some time off for some of the parades, so we're going to actually get a chance to go to some of the parades together. We didn't get to do that at all last year. I know Mama Sita, we're going to be taking her to some of the parades, so we're going to be doing some Mardi Gras stuff here. So we're going to have 3 weeks off from the live stream, but we are still going to have a challenge during that time frame. So I will be introducing next week a new challenge that's going to run the whole period that we're going to have our streams off. Also, during that time that we're not going to be live on camera doing a live stream, I'm working on trying to put something together that might be kind of cool. I don't know if it's going to work yet or not. I don't know. But I'm trying to get something together that's going to be kind of cool for those streams, those nights. So details to come. Maybe. We'll see. But we will be here next week for sure. And then we'll be taking some time off. So you won't see us on camera for a couple of weeks. So, but we will have that challenge going on during that time frame. So 1500, 1540 this week. And the next week we'll be launching a new 3-week challenge for those weeks that we're taking off. So go hit the dials, my friends. Keep a look to the south this weekend if you have a chance, because there may be some enhancement down that way. For our FM enhanced folks, our FM inclined folks, go get your band scans. Go do your band scans. Hit that FM band, get your band scans on, and get to know your local band in a big way. You may surprise yourself like Stuart did and find some stuff you didn't realize that you didn't have in the logbook, or some new stuff that you didn't know was there yet, or some stuff that had moved. You never know. Take care, my friends. Best of DX. We'll see you next week right here on DX Central Live. From our sponsors, the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org, the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org, Spectrum Monitor Magazine, thespectrummonitor.com, and for all of our patrons who, let's face it, you guys have stepped up in a big way, so thank you so much to our patrons. Patreon.com/DXCentral if you would like to join us in Studio C. And I've got some goodies coming your way soon, guys. We're going to do some cool stuff here I've been working on that I'm really excited about. So we'll see you guys next week. Take care, my friends. Best of DX 73.
This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.